Greetings, sending all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body Culinary, aka Kwasapeacefull eating. Hope your day is going well. Shout out to those folks that are early risers that met me this morning for a nice personal daily movement practice. So today I wanted to come in just to share some special consideration for those folks that may have very, very fine hair, very fine Afro textured hair. So I literally just gave my hair a rinse and greetings. So I just rinsed it with cider vinegar, which is rare. The last time I touched any cider vinegar was several years ago before the whole panoramic. Um, when I had that Twinkie episode with my hair. I didn't use chemicals on my hair, though I was using periodically olive oil and coconut oil some years ago. So this is actually, wow, some years have disappeared with the whole panoramic. So I literally just got out of the shower. So back then, it felt really good to smooth on olive oil and coconut oil. Though one day I went to, and I would rinse my hair quite often. So one day I went to rinse my hair was feeling really weird. It felt really weird and felt very waxy. And then, it felt kind of like if you ever ate Twinkies or those cheap cakes back in the day, it had that waxy fake icing. That's how it felt. And I tried to wash it out with the natural shampoo. Tried numerous times, did not come out. And so I was doing some research. So I decided to try apple cider vinegar and baking soda. Though I found for my I would say, let's say I never seem to get the porosity right. I may not know the name, but I know how my hair behaves. So water droplets usually sit on the top of my hair. So I think that means that the scales are closed. So I think that means low porosity, right? Whatever the label is, that's how my hair behaves. So water has a tendency to sit on the top of my hair. So it's kind of challenging for it to penetrate. Usually after a while smoothing it goes on the inside. So I decided to try the apple cider vinegar and the baking soda. After numerous washes, it came out. Though another epiphany that I've had in so many instances, the same thing. My very delicate hair, it was too harsh for my hair. So I have not touched it since. So I have one shampoo that I will use. I don't use shampoo. I don't know, kind of things fall away. And I don't use it quite often because I realize over time you'll see as your hair matures how it behaves. My hair can be stripped very easily. It's very delicate hair. Um, my hair does not like to be handled and will flourish when left alone. I don't have any issues with dandruff. I just wash the hair, and our hair actually does have a natural shine to it. I don't put anything on my hair or my scalp, no oils, no butters, no nothing, right? It's just that light reflects. I always say reflects. I have a list. Or reflects or refracts differently off of cotton, right? So it has a shine if you pull it, but the hair it behaves differently. And I'm one for submitting to what my hair and body does on its own because I found it. You may have a different experience. I found it very expensive, emotionally, mentally, financially. It's like chasing your tail to try to force your hair and your body and skin to do so many things that it wasn't designed to do, that it doesn't want to do. Now, I can appreciate fashion and creativity, though it's for each of us to find our niche or what works for us with ease, right? And you may go through different types of phases throughout your journey, throughout your lifestyle journey, right? It's been a journey for me of over 30 something years, and definitely a good portion of years natural. I didn't want my hair to lock. It locked, started locking on its own. My hair's so fine. Trying to pick out the locks, I lost a lot of hair, and my hair could pop, pop, pop very easily. When I say that people have a tendency to say, oh, use this oil, use this product, there are numerous reasons why I don't prefer products. I personally find using so many products and so much stuff, I find it stressful, to be quite honest. So I wouldn't call myself a minimalist. Maybe perhaps in some areas. I don't know if I would label, I'm not really so much with the labels. Yeah, I like freedom. I don't like to be encumbered by too much stuff. Now, I do enjoy vintage fashion. So I may try things on as I experiment with my personal style and give them away. But just too much stuff and clutter, I find it actually mentally stressful. So I'm not interested in products, protein treatments. Even from time to time, when I still look at natural hair care channels, um, ladies with loose natural hair, detangling. I remember detangling, loose detangling versus um, and dry detangling versus detangling in twists. You know, I can appreciate it, and I really enjoyed my sessions of creativity with making double strand twists and flat strand twists. That's what I was able to do. Yet there is so much similar to diet. There is so much glaringly total opposite contradictory information that I find it dizzying. I find it's too much. It's like looking at social media to look at the different personalities that are running for office or different politicians, different people selling their stuff, different religions. I'm not interested. I just am not interested. I find it mentally, emotionally stressful. So, hair, when I think of the amount of time that I spent on hair, again, it's an option. I'm just not in a phase of my life where I want to spend a lot of time on my hair. If it's not locked, I would likely cut it all off. And I feel very comfortable with a very low cut. So in any event, I just washed it. I just did some diluted cider vinegar. So I haven't done it in a couple of years, but it's very, very diluted, just to see, you know, in the area where I am, I know the water does have a lot of minerals in it. When I was at another location, another part of the world, I had so many filters on my shower, alkaline filters. I really like investing in my health. So I had different types of filters, yet I don't find that so readily available. It's another reason why I prefer a lifestyle that is sustainable. So I personally don't like to be reliant on, if I can't get the portobello mushrooms, if I can't get this particular sauce or this balsamic vinegar. It's one of the reasons why I really appreciate my Grandma Luke. Those simple principles, knowing how to use the plants that are in my yard. Like I really, really enjoy using the plants that are in my yard. As a matter of fact, I have some leftover nopales gel, and the texture of it is really, really, really nice. So I'm just seeing what this feels like. I do like my hair to feel light and fluffy. So it dries very quickly, which I think is a plus. It dries quickly, and I can definitely attribute that to not having oils in my hair. So if you have very fine hair, there may be some things to consider. So a couple of things that I've noticed on this journey, I think maybe it's been 6 years in my hair locked. When it matures, if your hair is very fine, right? Many of us may want to do freeform or semi-freeform. And, you know, folks, we fret over the parts or the sizes of the parts in the hair, right? Trying to predict what it's going to look like. Sometimes you don't know what it's going to look like. Well, I can tell you, I've continually trimmed, and I was thinking maybe if I didn't trim it, it might be longer, but who cares? I don't really think about it that much. But if these were light, fluffy locks, this would give you some idea of when the hair matures and when it's very compact, what it's going to look like. So I may trim it, or it's going to get a natural trim, right? So sometimes some of these, I don't have a lot of locks, and it looks very flat. I can see like, wow, look at all of this length is going to be gone. So this will likely get cut over here. So maybe I would see more length, could repair it. I don't know. Sometimes I have other things to do, so I don't want to be preoccupied with the hair. But my main thing is that it feels fluffy and it feels light because I like to exercise a lot. When I sweat, the sweat evaporates and it does not hold the smell. So I think that the oil holds and traps dirt. And again, if you wash your hair and use oil, you know, you have to find whatever works for you. But the light fluffiness is good for me. A lot of times I'm in a warm, hot environment. My body gets very hot from exercising. So I don't want smell. I don't want oil on my face as I'm in the garden a lot, running down into my face. The dust from the garden is going to be attracted to my face. Internally, I'm big on internal hygiene and what I'm eating. So what you're eating, which I would say whole, fresh, unprocessed foods, period. As someone that's had a lot of acne that comes from a family pattern of morbid obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, certain things I like to take off the table. I don't want to be concerned about it. So I didn't brush the hair. It's actually drying very quickly as I'm standing here. That's because it doesn't have any oil in it. If I was to twist my roots, Miss Lady wouldn't have any hairline. I wouldn't have a hairline. My hair just doesn't like it. It just doesn't. So I'm just not into fighting, right? So that's one thing. No twisting. I'm not retwisting. No, I'm not putting any oils. Thank you for sharing. But I just don't want to. Sometimes you'll get little balls or lumpies on here. So you can pick these out if you want, or you can try to brush them. I don't like to brush or handle my hair too much because I just find the hair doesn't like it. If my hair was loose natural, being that it's this high porosity, or I would say it tangles a lot, when it's loose, I will constantly get balls at the end, and that's just tangles because I don't know if they call it the scales or whatever, the texture of the hair, the way the hair is constructed, it lifts up off the hair, so it's very fine. It tangles very easily. So my hair can actually lock very quickly. It can lock very easily. Some months ago, I did an experiment where I let a couple of them join to see how long it would take. So this is like 4 or 5 locks. So when I say fine hair, but this only took like, I think maybe about 2 months for this to lock. So this is fully locked. I don't think I can pull this apart anymore. So that's that. It locks very easily, though it's kind of like a trade-off if you have very fine hair, though it locks very easily. All of my hair is flat. Not everybody wants flat locks. But when I tell you they're flat, people don't think that they're flat. But trust me when I tell you they are flat. So rather than my hair growing like this, it's growing like this. And I'm in full acceptance of it. I just don't feel like there's a tidal wave. I think of everybody else trying to fit in or trying to look, we wind up all looking the same with the procedures and everything. We all start looking cookie cutter. So I'm really with embracing my natural features. I find it relieves a lot of stress, right? So they're all flat and they're growing wide. I used to see, I've mentioned before, I've seen a lot of channels that talk about your hair growing away from the lock. Technically, my hair grows away from the lock, but I just found, I think sometimes we're just, I don't know, maybe everybody's experience is different. I don't sweat it anymore because I find after a while, it just joins together. So after a while, I don't have to be concerned. This would be a Congo Nati for me, but these are more that I just let combine. So it is like nice and flat, but it feels nice and clean, light and fluffy. So if your hair is very fine, it's likely that they will become flat. And if you keep rolling it and rolling it and rolling it and parting it, you're likely going to see your scalp. And, you'd be seeing my whole scalp. You see my brains, right? If I was twisting it. So I don't have to worry about twisting it. And at some point, these edges over here will likely break off. Now, them joining, which I figured the first time I started letting them join, I started to see, I would have loved sister locks. But the trade-off with not having oil in it, I'm not smoothing it. Now, the original sister locks, before they even got popular years ago, they weren't with putting oil inside the hair. I'm not an aficionado on sister locks. So one of my good friends was one of the best sister locks hairstyles I've ever seen from back in the day. And they weren't big with putting oil in the hair, which is what it made it attractive to me. Though I have zero desire to sit in anybody's chair for hours, traveling to and from a salon. I can't even wrap my mind around it. That to me is stressful. I want stress-free, low maintenance. My time and my energy, my resources are going to the garden, to my movement practice. I'll be honest, I'd rather have a certain degree of fitness, right? Is it going to be like when I was 20 or when I was walking on stage for competitions? No. But just the best possible healthy body that I can have. I'm not worried about it. I do not want to be addicted to makeup. I will play from time to time with some lip gloss or mascara. Maybe one day I'll go get a whole, beat face. But I like my own skin. And I think that's very precious to me, my emotional, mental health. So likely your hair is going to go wide and flat rather than round if you have very, very fine hair. So sometimes we're trying to fight to make our hair look a certain kind of way and play with the parts. Though when it matures, it's just going to fall the way that it falls. Also, a lot of times, those of us that may be eager to have length, if your hair is very cottony and it's fine, it can seem like it takes forever for it to start to cascade down this way, right? Because our hair grows up this way. So let me see. I have a few lot of folks that I like. Like I love Mayoa. Mayoa's World. Her hair is absolutely stunning. I love Ingrid from Toronto. I like Non-Performance Eyewear. Her hair is so beautiful and thick. And now that I just saw it the other day, it's long, it's reddish. So I don't know if that's because she's in the sun more. It's changed color. when my hair is in the sun, it can get very, very brownish red. Some people have even asked if I have dye in my hair. I don't have, I won't use dye. That's another thing. If you have very, very fine hair, I personally would not recommend dye. And I know as when we get bored, I want to change, I want to change. Some of the things we change, we wind up damaging. I ain't telling y'all what to do. But this hair has been it's so fine, it's so delicate. Overwhelmingly, most folks that I know personally that I've seen on YouTube wind up damaging their hair. If our porosity is already kind of you know, kind of interesting and the hair is very delicate, then from what I understand, you have to lift it up, right? In order to get the hair, or like bleach it, in order to get it to take the color. That's just too much. That would just kill my hair. Plus, I'm very mindful of things that contribute to tumors and cysts. One of my first mentors, one of her biggest missions and passions was helping women to relieve tumors and cysts. And I see so many tumors and cysts. There's like a whole section of YouTube of women talking about having different types of procedures to remove tumors and cysts. Quite often they grow back. So I like to look at what's at the root cause of causing a condition rather than just treat the symptom. So the dangerous chemicals, there's already enough in the environment and the water to contend with. That, I don't want to put anything next to my precious brain. You got the same favorite, Sonia? So this is my flat hair. It'll get a little fluffy. For me, this is close to a lion's mane as I'm going to get. And I'm okay with it. So radical self-acceptance. I don't know if I love quiet time, because in the quiet early hours or when you're in your garden, it is really a time to tune into your own divine onboard intelligence, your own innate ability to problem solve. There's a saying, I don't get with most sayings, especially if they cause you not to think. Though the term seek your own counsel, I think sometimes we're so desperately looking out on YouTube that we don't get quiet. Your own intelligence will bubble up, the answers to a lot of your questions. Should I lock it? Should I not? When you can get really quiet and just spend quality time with yourself, you can get some really good feedback from your own divine onboard intelligence. So, for example, I love Valerie. I love Valerie Jim's hair. But what's the use of wishful thinking? That's not what I have. So I've just accepted this. This is my own version of a lion's mane. And being that I don't twist it, a benefit of not twisting and retwisting it is that I can get like some version of fluffiness, right? Because I'm not twisting it. So when people say, oh, it's gotten so thick. Well, it's also, I'm not rolling. It was never a huge palm roller, but I remember I used to roll it, sometimes initially. But I saw very early on that rolling it was making it very, very thin. And I could also, if you really feel, I do breast massage and stomach massage on a regular basis. So I'm in tune with my body. I want to feel, is there anything going on in there? I want to pay attention. I want to be grounded in my body. Similarly, when I do the movement practice in the morning, when we're done, I like to take the time to do a scan and breathe into my body and just turn my attention inward to pay attention. Our attention is constantly being drawn outward. I like to intentionally turn my attention inward so I can pay attention to what's going on with my body. Why just let the doctor, I'm not a medical doctor, but why let everyone else be an aficionado on your own body? You're the one that has to live with you. So if we're not paying attention to our cycle, to the discoloration of the color of your nails, to your body odor, it's a lot of information. And also, in your quiet moments when you're by yourself, what you're putting into your body, right? So the locks are probably going to go flat if you have fine hair. It likely does not like to be handled, especially if you have delicate hair that can pop off. I'm not going to do 20 million protein treatments. I'm just not. My whole body is like, I just can't get with, it's like claustrophobia in like a prison having 20 million products. Now, fruits and vegetables, that's a whole nother story. I can get with that. So they're going to be flat. You might likely need to cut it off. You may likely want to consider not twisting or not doing products for the fluff, the benefit of the fluff, for them to join together. And I do think now, if I had to do over, I do think there are quite a few styles, even if you have fine hair, that you can do with this this type of hair. But the biggest thing for me is the freedom. I'm totally into being able to exhale, lay my head down, not worrying about smashing my Afro on one side, not worrying about, now it has a decent amount of length, I can pull it back, but I don't like to pull it back with really tight hair tools because those can put indentations into the hair. So that is something else to consider if your hair bobbles or the things that you're using to style your hair. And if the hair is flat and you're putting lots of little tight things or rubber bands in it, you're going to likely make indentations in the hair. And if you're like me and you go out into the garden, I've had rubber bands melt into my hair. And so anything that gets in the hair that I can't take out is makes me feel claustrophobic. It's stressful, and it's just very hard to get out. So my hair's already fine. Putting my hair through baking soda and apple cider vinegar, harsh or cheap shampoos will strip the heck out of your hair if your hair is already very delicate. I think it will compromise your hair. And over time, if you have certain habits, when it starts to mature and it gets compact, you'll see that those areas are weaker if you've constantly been brushing it, maybe a little light brushing with a baby brush, but for the most part, if you're not putting a whole lot of stuff into the hair, you don't have to work like crazy to get it out. Just like if you're not putting devitalized substances masquerading as food into your body, former junk food addict, then you don't have to work like a mad woman to get it off, right? So it's very hard to get things out of our hair, and I think it really stresses the hair out. Some people's hair can't take it. So again, this is drying as I'm standing here. I only did but so much blotting. So I'm not rubbing the hair. I'm just blotting it with a towel. It does still shrink. It does still shrink. So I don't think that much about growth challenges. I don't nitpick about my hair all being even. So I don't really care about that stuff. I don't like pulling it too tight. If I pull it too tight, I get what I call too tight bumps. So if the second substance starts pulling at it, it feels irritated red. That's a fast track to alopecia. This hair can't take it, scalp can't take it, skin can't take it. So it's good to know yourself. So I don't often get to see what the back looks like. But I'm sure, again, if I was twisting it, you'd see my whole scalp, but it feels good. I don't have a bunch of itching. I'm not putting all the stuff in, so I don't have to work like crazy to get it out, right? So these are just some things to consider. If you have fine hair and you're wondering, can I have Nati Congos, whatever, the hair is what it is. Though I found if we work with what we have, I'm constantly pleasantly surprised, right? I think it's a lot more work to scramble to try to get your eyebrows back or to buy all kinds of expensive serums when perhaps we can find a way to work with our own eyebrows. If I knew how to do threading, I would do threading. But I found my own ways to work with my own eyebrows with some shea butter and a brush. And also, most of the time, I'll use a butter concoction that I have for my eyelashes, or I can use my great grandma's remedy, which is castor oil. So sometimes, and of course, you'll wipe the castor oil extra from your eyelids. But this stuff is non-toxic, right? This stuff is going into your skin, into your bloodstream. I don't think this is the time to have extra chemicals going into our bloodstream, right? Because we're over 1 trillion cells that are living, they eat, and they poop. And it's a lot of stress and inflammation, right? An inflammatory response when we have things inside the body that don't belong in. We get an inflammatory response. That's like trauma. Something's in here that's not supposed to be in here. So I really love to break things down to the simplest common denominator. I think we can organize it in our brain, then to make choices becomes a lot easier. And we maybe perhaps won't be so anxiety ridden from looking at other people and what they're doing with their hair or with their food. It's your own journey. So we don't necessarily need to shame each other or shame ourselves for where we are in our journey. So again, I'm just going to, if I go outside right now, right, I think I should cover this. That's one thing I don't like to do that I need to do because I'm in the garden so much. But this is going to be dry like really quick. So that's not even like, how many? Maybe 25 minutes ago that I just got out of the shower. I'm not going to do the dye. That will damage it. Congo Nati, this is most of my hair and there's still space in here. It's only about 30 locks. Though this is a viable option. This is something to consider. If you'd like to, perhaps, I was just thinking, do I want to experience long hair? I could cut it off. But I was like, you know what? I think I do want to have that, give myself that experience. And I think it would be wonderful to allow our daughters to have that experience. Yes, with a healthy sense of vanity to have long, healthy hair. I just don't think it has to be stressful. I really prioritize the ease. So we can just let our hair grow out. You can decide where you want to put the part, and you can work with your own face shape or how you like to style your hair. This is easy for me. I've bought different types of rollers. I find I don't even need to use the rollers, right? So I love it. It just gets simpler and simpler. I love the simplicity. That's more time for the movement practice, more time for the garden, more time for naps, more time to cultivate your gifts or your business, right? So hopefully this is helpful for those of you that have fine hair. So now we can see it's drying. And although one distinction before I leave, dry does not mean brittle. So my hair will be dry, but it's not crunchy at all. It's like it's cottony. It's cottony. I'm not trying to catch the kitchens back here. Actually, I find when I put the no polish, maybe I put a little no polish gel on before I get off. So do I have any left? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And this no polish gel, I'm loving this. So this is no polish from no polish that I made that I pulled from the yard. So let's see the texture. It's a couple of days old. So it has a really nice texture. And it doesn't flake as much as the aloe. I think the aloe is good as well. So it has a little bit of mucilage in it. It's just no polish and water. So I don't have a bunch of sponsors because I don't have a whole bunch of products. So when people ask me for this and that, I tell you, I know how to make soap. I haven't mastered shampoo, and I don't need a lot of shampoo, but I just don't like the idea of being on a whole stroll of products, primarily because I find it stressful. And maybe that's just me. So again, if I'm putting a little bit of the no polish, you can see that it sits on top of the hair. Moisture sits on top. And if I smooth it, then it goes into the hair. So again, I don't have problems with dandruff or itching because I don't have anything that I'm putting on the hair for buildup. Now, of course, there's always going to be dust in the air. I am in the garden. I do need to get better about covering it. Some days I do, and some days I don't because I go from one activity to another. So if I put the no polish or aloe, today this is just no polish, and I have a couple of videos on this channel making no polish gel. If you have questions, you can let me know or send an email. If I put the no polish gel on it, I'm thinking, just from stuff in my garden, I'm like, wow, all that time I spent all that money in that gel, this doesn't get crispy. So this is just a result of me putting the no polish on this. So water, I definitely have to say shout out to Yanni, the lochologist, is different. But that's just a no polish, and it's water based. It's very watery, but it's definitely different. It's definitely different than, what do you call it? What am I trying to say? Than water, just plain water. Because I have been known to just take plain water and spread that on my head. If you have too tight bumps because your style has been too tight, this is very soothing on the back of the nape of your neck, those hairs back there. This feels really cool and it feels nice to the scalp. I don't try to catch these up so much. I'll just let this be right down here. Because again, I'm just working with my hair. The hair is having a communication with me what she likes and what she doesn't like. So I can go through a lot of this. Still a little bit of the green from it, even though I strained it in the bottom. But that just sits at the bottom. And I can just run this along my hair. So some people might be doing this with oil, right? And again, this is going to evaporate. But it just looked like a little something if I felt like I wanted to, quote unquote, moisturize my hair. So it's still a bit moist from the shower. It's still damp. But this is just to illustrate what I'm doing. If I wanted to, quote unquote, moisturize my hair during the week. So that's what that does. It will dry, but that's just no polish gel. It's nothing. No oil, no nothing. I'm not doing no pre-poo. I'm not doing all of that crap. I mean, not crap. When I say crap, I mean, I'm just not less stuff. I need to really prioritize. Not I need to. I make it a practice. I strive to free up time and stress because there's just too much coming at me on the internet, scrambling for my attention and my time, and it doesn't feel healthy. All that stress and I got to do this, I got to do that. It doesn't, intuitively, it doesn't feel healthy. So I'm opting out. I'm just going to enjoy my skin. I want to enjoy the maturation process as I evolve through the different cycles of life, all this stuff, you know, the basic fears I talk about in this channel, fear of death, fear of loss of love, never finding love, fear of poverty, fear of illness, fear of criticism. Let's get the last one. But that stuff, we're constantly being triggered. I don't know if folks pay attention, but constantly being triggered, and it will drive your behavior. It will drive your mindless eating. It will drive mindless consumption. It will drive you making unvetted decisions and opening yourself to the unvetted people. So that's no bueno over here. So that's it. See how complicated that was? If you want to throw a bonnet on at night, you can do that. I will say, I do think that makes a difference. So I have made some pillowcase covers and a couple of scarves that I put underneath my sun hats. I am getting better about wearing sun hats that I'll put on my pillow at night. And so I don't have to tie my hair up. There's too much stuff on me. I just want to be free. Freedom hair. This works for me. I just want to be free. So I'm not doing all of that stuff. Put a little no polish gel and call it a day. That's it. That's it. So we done chit-chatted quite a bit on this video. Let me know if you have questions, and maybe perhaps if you have questions about whole living foods and fitness, which is a lifestyle, not a diet. I have coaching every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can reach out to me for information at info@body-culinary.com. There is a book I put together called Natural Beauty, No Products. You'll see what my hair looked like before it locked, and also I use food on my face. I take it internally, right? And if I can't eat it, I don't put it on my body. That's just me. It works for me. It's foolproof. It's simple. It's easy. I was already paying by the pound for all of this produce. So it's a win-win situation. This is about ease, freedom, comfort, and relaxation, because we deserve to feel comfortable in our own hair and skin. I deserve to feel comfortable in my own hair and skin, right? We have things to do. We have a full life to live, and we want our bodies to be able to perform for us when we need it. All right, so sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. Let me know if you have any questions. Reach out to me also if you're interested in Flower Fit. That's community that comes together around sharing what you're doing in your garden. If you're starting your garden, your daily movement practice, sharing the results. We're not just coming together to talk the results from your fitness tracker, your heart rate monitor, and sharing some of the healthy foods that you're eating. The focus is whole, fresh, unprocessed foods. Y'all create a great day on purpose. Follow Body-Culinary on TikTok. Yes, I've been posting on TikTok. I like it. TikTok is kind of like a vision board for me. TikTok, the Gen Z community fitness games was so much fun with families. Yesterday, I did share that on Facebook, and I do post on Body-Culinary on Instagram. Like, comment, respect, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.